come.
We just had David Ellis, a London-based artist, here with us today for a workshop, and we were impressed to hear about his work as a film curator, as a performer, as an intellectual entertainer, actually. So, David, would you tell us what does it mean to be a film curator nowadays?
The term film curator, and I will say that I'm not entirely comfortable with it, even though I use it, and although it is necessary on occasion to use it, because I think it's shorthand. There's a shorthand. It's shorthand for what previously would have been a film programmer, somebody who programs the evening's films. I think as we start to look at, when we started looking at films from a slightly different perspective as cultural product, and sort of, there's a film culture, then it became perhaps necessary to have someone who had an overall sense of film and cinema in the context of culture outside of the cinema. So it wasn't just to do with saying, okay, we're going to program some films tonight or for this particular week, or for a film curator perhaps draws upon his or her other knowledge, expertise in the aesthetics, in what actually works in the visually, for example, right down to the details of the poster, right down to how we, even you and I did work with the film poster, with the poster advertising this event. It's like thinking in advance everything, not just what's going on the screen.
Now you have some experience with Romania, and you're also involved in reopening the famous art cinema here in Cluj. From your experience here in our country, and especially in Cluj, how would you see film curating here in Romania?
Well, I think no less than any other country. You're developing it. It's an ongoing thing, and each individual person will bring what is unique in Romania. A Romanian film curator is going to be Romanian, and therefore, whatever that means, all the elements of being Romanian inside of your culture will come into. That's the point. For example, I think that as a curator in my work, I can't escape my taste. I can't escape what's formed me as someone engaged in all various aspects of the arts. When's the point of the boredom? How much Andy Warhol can you show to someone without going, I think we should finish it now? And so being very attributed to that. So when I'm programming something, when I'm curating an event, then everything piles in.
Your identity.
I allow, and I think that's the definition for me as a curator, as opposed to a programmer. You allow everything in, and then at a later point re-edit, edit, reassemble, or disassemble. I would think of myself as an assemblist in that respect. I bring everything together, so it's almost squeezing out. It's almost rather offensive, actually, in its richness. Something so rich, it becomes quite offensive. So you have to start, it's like Francis Ford Coppola making Apocalypse Now, which apparently was like 20 hours long, and it was this monster of a film that required enormous amounts of cutting. Chop, 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 and keep chopping. And I think as a film curator, or as a curator in the arts, and that includes other aspects of the arts, I just allow everything in. And then right at the end, right at the last moment, I will come very severely and remove any surplus and detritus, if you like. Whereas if you're a film programmer, obviously you may well just program the film. You select the film in order to. That's an honourable job and task, a profession. But it may not bring in the notions of aesthetic and notions of what's going on behind things, the history of the film, film history, etc. So I think that's all. The slight distinction between the program is that maybe knocked around in the world a bit and allow things in. And that the audience, I think the audience know that. When they're going to a film event, as opposed to just to go to see a film, they get it's almost intangible. They have a sense that the person has gone into all the details. The music played whilst people are coming in. I've never understood, it's important that people come in and have a sense of anticipation. When talking to Monica, the director of Cinema Arte, as it will be, we talked about those things. How did when does the event begin? Does it begin in the auditorium, or does it begin also when you're in the foyer, or even outside the cinema with the letters? Where does the cinema begin? For me, it begins on the outside when you look at the neon lights. It's like that, the look, the lettering, the font.
Anticipation.
You get the font right. The font's got to look right, and do you have film posters in the foyer? Never. Don't have a film poster in the foyer. Don't have film posters except on the front of the cinema. Don't have it to sort of suggest film cineasts talking and having a conversation. Don't have a Fassbinder poster in the bar. It sounds a bit austere, but it's not. It's just like getting the details and maybe saying, what do you want of a cinema? I think that's where the film curator is always close to his team. You have the cinema manager, you have the person who's dealing with the promotion of that. And it's a team. You're brainstorming and things about how does that feel, what's it going to look like. So.
Thank you so much.
No,
it was really an honor to have you, and I really, really hope to collaborate in the future as well.
Yeah, thank you so very much indeed. Thank you.